Okay, this is going to be a bit of Look fandom because look what just came into the building. This is the Look 989. Now, here's a question for you. Is this Look's latest and greatest gravel bike from 2024, or is it a cross country mountain bike from 2016? I don't know. Maybe they're onto something though. Maybe they should re-release this. Anyway, this is quite a cool bike actually. It's one of the last cross-country mountain bikes that Look ever made. And the quality was exceptional as always. And sort of loads of little geeky little features that are so reminiscent of Look back in 2016s, etc. I just thought I'd share it with you guys because I think it's a really fascinating bike. So this was traditional sort of cross-country, proper race geometry. But the rider of this is fitted out with a Lauf fork and some very narrow handlebars. And I think if I put this on a YouTube channel right now with some drop handlebars, everybody would think it would be the latest and greatest gravel bike. Anyway, it doesn't end there because look what we've got. This is also the 989. This is the RS version. So the RS is like the updated, the Pro Team version, if you like. And this one is a brand spanking frame. This has never been ridden, which is absolutely insane. And the owner of this has been sort of collecting up all the various parts that actually make it into a bike. And this is really cool actually, because the guys at Look have been really, really helpful with this. They've been sort of pointing us in the direction of the shops that sold them and where we could get parts from. And they've actually got a library of them, of their own parts as well, and we've pulled together everything we need to make this into a full bike, which is pretty cool. So the big feature with this was it had this integrated stem, which I'll get onto in a second, this integrated seat post thing as well, and it came with BB65, which was a Look proprietary bottom bracket system where they used a massive 6810 bearing. And then you'd use the Z cranks. I've actually got another bike over there with the Z cranks in. I'll just show you some B-roll now as to what that was. But we've had it on the channel before. Basically, one piece carbon cranks that you sort of weaved in the frame and then done it up with the preload bolt. Absolutely astonishing engineering. But it wasn't for everybody because they had to make adapters for it. But just quickly before I put this frame down, some of the lovely features on it was, you know, the mounts are all perfectly machined. And to get around the whole inserting aluminium bits into the frame, they actually used a barrel bolt system to also help with the rear brake alignment as well, which is really super cool. But anyway, let me show you some of these cool features. So the reason this bike is in actually is because we need to cut this much off the seat post, which is a terrifying job to do on a bike of such vintage, but we've measured and measured and measured, and I might show you how we do that later. But the reason we do that is because it had this really cool sort of seat post system that you insert into here, obviously, but it didn't end there. So what they did was they built in an elastomer. So you had sort of 3 different colors of elastomer here. So you had, I think the black one was completely rigid in this direction here. The red one was like in the middle, and then the grey one was the softest one to give you a little bit of vibration control comfort, I guess. And then you would fine tune the seat post by putting these little spacers on here, and you used to get packs right the way down to 1 millimeter thick, so you could fine tune the seat post. And then to make everything sort of lock into place, you had this sort of system here. So you would do the bolt up from the top and these would expand out and that would sort of grip it into the frame. Really, really clever system. And here's a look at the stem. So the idea of the stem was it was all integrated and meant to work with the lines of the bike like you can see here. But you could actually turn this upside down, which would kind of turn it into a rather sort of hideous looking thing. It sort of ruined the look of the bike. But hey, at least you got the sort of handlebar height that you actually wanted, and it didn't actually look too bad. But I think everyone really, really tried to run it in that configuration. And these came in loads and loads of different sizes as well. So nifty little design actually. And again, beautifully well made. The difference between this RS version, which is the new one, and this frame was apparently something to do with the grade of the carbon. I'm not entirely sure on that, to be fair, but also that big BB65. But then it had to ship with these. So these are BB65 to PF30 adapters. So it would step down the 65 millimeter bearing down to a 46 millimeters, and also add the 5 millimeters that you need to run a 73 millimeter PF30 bottom bracket. Now these had to be really bonded in carefully, and we've showed you how to do this on the channel before by they were so finely machined, they were exactly right, so you had to be really careful with how you install them. mostly because the two surfaces you can contaminate the retaining compound quite easily, which sometimes led to a really bad bond. So you had to be really, really meticulous about how you installed them. But once you did, it was actually a really durable system because it's such a big bearing. Now, one other little treat with this was the owner of the RS frame also has the whole little look pouch that you get with all the bits and pieces in. And this is where we have all the spare neck hangers and frame guides. Always came with like titanium hardware as well, proper instruction manuals and through axles. You know, these really were a real treat to work on. Just to open these up and feel like you brought something really, really special. It's just something you don't get very much. To be fair, you don't even get this on new look bikes. You know, the new Blade RS, for instance, doesn't come with this sort of level of attention to detail when you open the box. Something that I've always thought bike manufacturers should get back on top of. You kind of want that unboxing an Apple product experience when you buy a new frame. I always think that you should be able to open the frame up and just peer inside, and everything you need is all nicely laid out and been inspected and checked, and you can see everything that's been signed off. Oh, that would make me so happy if a brand ever did that again. Here we go, all back together. I love bikes like this. All we've done is put that saddle back in. We've moved the Di2 battery to here to accommodate that shorter area. And also we put the new shorter stem on there as well. So it made it absolutely the right size for this rider. I love this sort of bike. It is a proper bike geek sort of dream. That's why I love look bikes, because there's so much weird engineering in there. Like, I know it's all hideously impractical and you'll run out of parts for the seat post, and in a few years' time we'll struggle to find different stem lengths and all that sort of thing. And the whole bottom bracket thing, I know it will fire you up in the comments. But this was from an era when all the bike brands were doing some crazy stuff with composites, you know, coming up with BB65 and PF30 and asymmetric stuff, and every single brand was doing some crazy engineering. What's interesting, probably out of this video, is that now we seem to be in an era of consolidation. We seem to be in an era where we're going back to 27.2 seat post and threaded bottom bracket and standard 1 1/8 steerer tubes. So maybe we have gone full circle. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little reminisce back to 2016 and look at some of the weird and wonderful engineering that's come out of the Look factory over the years. If you like this sort of content, please give it a thumbs up. Think about subscribing, and we'll see you soon for some more crazy stuff on the channel.